This video is presented by EA GameChangers, and I'm gonna explain everything in a second, but first, let me do the intro. Hey guys, so as you already saw it by the title of today's video, we're gonna take a look at two of the locked characters in Apex and discuss which one is better and which one should you go for buying first. But before we go there, I want to quickly explain what the presented by EA GameChangers means, because I'm aware we have quite a lot of new players playing Apex who might not be familiar with how those videos work. So essentially, EA sent me a package of skins and Apex coins, with which I was able to purchase the new characters, and now I'm making a video about those characters. That's pretty much the whole thing. I'm not paid to to tell you to go buy Apex coins or anything of this type, which often tends to be a misconception of those videos. Anyway, back to the point of the video. When you first log into Apex, you will see a couple of legends that you can pick from, but you will have two of them locked, and you will have to purchase them with either Apex coins, which are the golden currency, where each of the legends costs 750 Apex coins, and those can only be obtained by purchasing them with real-life money. But you also have the option of unlocking them using legend tokens, and those can be obtained by leveling your character in the game. Unlocking each of the characters will cost you 12,000 tokens. As I've already mentioned, I'm not here to make the choice for you and decide which option should you go with, but I will say though that both of the characters are really interesting to play with. If you decide to unlock Caustic first, you will get a perfect legend for a defensive playstyle. As your ultimate ability, you can cover a big area with toxic gas, hurting your enemies and slowing them down. As your tactical ability, you can put down up to 6 gas traps, which will automatically go off and hurt your enemies if they come near them, or you can shoot them and activate them manually. As the passive ability, you're able to see all of the enemies in your gas, and also, you yourself don't get affected by it, so you can easily just take them out. You also have the second option of unlocking Mirage, which is amongst my favorite characters in this game. But I'm gonna get into it in a second. First, let's take a look at his abilities. As the ultimate ability, you're actually able to become invisible and put a decoy down which distracts enemies and makes them think that you're actually the decoy and they start shooting it. As the tactical ability, you're also able to put down decoys, and this time around you actually don't cloak yourself, but you can distract enemies or even bait them out with your decoys pretty well. It's a really effective tactic, especially if you don't know where the enemies are. You can just place down the decoy, and 90% of the time they will actually start shooting it. The other 10% they're probably not gonna notice it. That's my experience in the game so far at least. And the third passive ability allows you to cloak yourself when you get knocked out and deploy a decoy, which makes enemies confused, and once again they start shooting the decoy instead of finishing you off. It's a really fun character to play with, and in all honesty, if I were to choose between picking Caustic or Mirage first, I would always go for Mirage. Just because, first, the character is really easy to learn to play with. It's not really that complicated. Putting the gas traps and generally gassing the whole area with Caustic, it tends to be quite complicated, or maybe not quite complicated, but it is more complicated than using Mirage and becoming invisible. It also suits my playstyle much better than Caustic, because often me and my squad tend to push enemies instead of waiting for them to actually attack us first, and in such case Mirage is a much better character to go with. As I've already mentioned it, Caustic is more of a defensive playstyle character, which, of course, you can use in offense, but it's not as easy and not as effective as it could be if you were actually holding down some sort of a building or an area. Of course, it doesn't mean that Caustic isn't useful, but it simply doesn't fit my playstyle. And if I were to choose between getting Caustic or Mirage first, I would always go for Mirage. And that would be it for this video, guys. I'm also gonna be making in-depth tutorials for each of the legends in the game, including those two we just talked about, so stay tuned for that. If you haven't seen my yesterday's video explaining different rarity of items and the secret abilities of golden items in the game, make sure to check that out. It is on the screen right now, you can just click it and go there. And as always, if you enjoyed, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and I see you in Apex.